just picked up, and I thought I was going to be like a fill-in, and for some reason I thought I was being the backup. I don't know for it's been
Well, I don't have a paperwork for you.
I got it yet. It's monthly letter. Just a couple
You
things.
don't have like last Sunday?
Not anything going on except for tomorrow night, ladies auxiliary, and then the weekend stuff.
Yeah, we can go like wedding. That's the biggest thing I can think of right now.
And revival too, yeah. And revival following week. And
Who else is serving food? Okay, I read the time for the safety word order. What you got? I don't have anything.
we need a Holy Moses song.
Kind of cut the coals off and burn the whole mess.
That's what Bonnie has to do.
Yeah.
She finds somebody to do it. I tell you, you can't find nobody. The other day, you look at their moving limbs and stuff like that. Not anybody get. Willie stays busy all the time. Willie ain't just playing chicken.
Gracious, I didn't know that. Wow. Who for you?
Chicken butt on Saturday.
No.
I'll tell you what, he was making good.
Psalms 465.
All right.
Oh, really?
Standing on glass. Good evening. 7 o'clock, so y'all are ready. Let's get started here. And I'll say a quick opening prayer if that's okay. Dear Lord, thank you for this time we have together. Please bless this Bible study and this worship time together, and the people whose names are going to be lifted up in prayer. In Jesus' name, amen. And Miss Beverly's going to play us hymn number 465. So,
455?
465, sorry.
I don't know.
That's what I said. But it's not going to happen.
for that. Thank you, Ms. Beverly.
Did I just play it 3 times and nobody sang?
No, we sang.
I thought I was singing.
Joyful noise of yours, yeah, we heard it. Looking at the announcements, tomorrow night, we had a women's auxiliary meeting, 7 p.m. That's in the fellowship hall, I believe. And this Saturday at 2 p.m., the brothers are gonna do it for the 2 p.m. Gregana's Hoggard wedding. I think you'll all be welcome with that. And this weekend, Sunday, 4:30 Deacons meeting on Sunday afternoon, and then at 6 o'clock, the big event, Diamond City Express. If you're like me, you're looking forward to that. The gentlemen are a blessing to us. And anybody been following the eclipse? A little bit about the eclipse coming up Monday? Anybody got your glasses for that?
Are we gonna be able to see it?
Yeah.
I heard we were. I read on the internet.
Don't try to get something to
Oh,
borrow.
no.
We had some from last time, and I don't know what we did with it.
Well, back in like 1970, a bunch of people came to Green Acres, you remember that? And that kind of put them on the map. They were supposed to be at Raleigh at the campus, but it was foggy that morning. And a bunch of them called buggy to Greenville, to here to Beargrass to watch it, because we were in the line of total eclipse, yeah. So that was,
Is this sun eclipse?
yes, sir, we're not totally, we're on the, like, we're 8%, yeah.
Everybody listening, don't dare look at that sun.
They got the glasses, yeah. When you go in Walmart, they got the glasses you can buy, yeah.
Inside of your eye.
Exactly. Kind of a warning there, a heads up, if you see it getting dark, the chicken's starting to roost in the middle of the day, that's what's going on. Yeah, we should just say.
When is it?
And
When is it?
Monday, sometime Monday.
Monday afternoon, sometime.
And we'll probably lose all phone service.
They're expecting a
Doubt
million
it.
people in Niagara Falls to show up for the day, because they must have a lot they're in the exact middle of it. And it's a tourism area, but I don't think they can handle 1 million people in one day. So that's gonna be interesting. They've already declared a state of emergency, expecting all those people coming, so it's a big deal, and hope nothing happens with the electronics, you hear some of that stuff, excuse me a little bit, but anyway, let's just get to a proud time of prayer here. There's an update with the pastor on his mother's situation.
No, all I know is in South Carolina, all I know.
He's settled in, okay. Please remember that situation with Pastor Bill, his mother. And Miss Geraldine here is still in the hospital, so please remember her.
I guess she got into Greenville, they were waiting.
Oh, really? Okay, she's in Greenville, okay,
We hope she is.
okay.
Irvin actually talked to Mr. Eddie like while we were on the way here.
Cool.
and I don't think she's been moved to Greenville yet.
Oh, okay.
But that's what they were hoping.
Yeah,
they were
they're planning to get her to
They're
Greenville.
planning,
but I
yeah,
don't
we
think
know how that is, yeah, okay. Is there anybody else that anyone wants to?
Yeah, my wife, yesterday, there's nothing wrong with her. Today, we think she's got pneumonia.
Oh, my
I had to
goodness.
cure the quick care. We took x-rays, and
Mhm.
so we got her home on medication.
Miss Thelma was saying her sister Barbara had to,
Yeah, Barbara, we went to the Easter Drama Sunday night, and I think the night there caused her to have sinuses and allergies flare up.
he said his wife Jane had gotten a respiratory, what did they figure out what kind of respiratory it was?
Not yet. All they told
Just
me was
something-
a possible pneumonia, but I don't know what stage.
Becky Edwards is gonna have hip replacement surgery tomorrow. Not hip, knee replacement surgery tomorrow. You know, his hip,
Russell and Becky?
Russell's Becky. Finally, after Russell got straightened out, she's able to have her surgery.
Any update on Christy Brewer?
She's still doing testing to try to get on the transplant list.
Okay.
Robert, my brother's son, a few minutes today, he's having his pacemaker next Thursday. Battery, and Russ, I knew he's having his hernia surgery on his.
Please be with them, I know there'll be some recovery time involved there. Is there anyone else?
My brother Jesse, he had 40-something radiation treatment. And now he's having some kind of blood issue.
Please remember Mr. Henry's brother Jesse from treatments from the radiation, from the treatments.
Remember Tommy Field? He been diagnosed with lung cancer.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
And they can't, gotta get him squared away with his, heart doctor
Heart, yeah.
before they'll decide what to do.
Okay, well, we'll pray for that situation and treatments and see what works out for him.
Our brother-in-law, Ed Green,
Mhm.
Vicky's husband Ed went Monday to Greenville, South Carolina,
Okay.
and they were not able to do stents or anything, so they will be calling him back in the next 2 to 3 weeks to schedule him for bypass surgery. And they have their first grandbaby due is Monday. So they're quite stressed out.
I'm sure I remember that situation. If there's no one else, Brother Mike, could you ask a blessing for?
Rob,
I'm sorry.
Glenn saw a wreath on the door at the house that's at this end of the Dallas Marble Road, and I don't know if it was there, and he didn't either. But he said there was 4 or 5 cars, but he said 5 or 6 cars, and then the wreath, and,
You talk about Brown house my mom used to live in?
well, it's at the end on Dallas side.
Okay, gotcha.
It was Jimmy's on that.
Is it a bunch? Like a William?
I don't know. I don't know who lived there, and he didn't either, but it was concerning, cause Angie had been by, and there was.
I haven't seen the obituaries today.
I
Yeah.
saw in the obituary, I can't remember if it was Walker, I guess it was Walker, but it was a Bobby Ray Whitehurst Jr., and they had him listed as Prison Camp Road.
Okay,
Yep.
that's probably it,
Yep,
yeah.
and he was young.
54, I think.
Yeah, he was young.
But anyway, that family was.
Just please remember that thing on your loss.
Continue to uplift others through these struggles with dialysis and other problems, situations.
Well, I got a, old friend of mine involved in all of it, like that, very white woman. She's been diagnosed with leukemia, and they don't know if it's strong enough to step in it.
Larry Whitehurst, leukemia. And, I've noticed, Sweet Home Church has not been having services Sunday. I think their pastor, Ward Williams, is sick. Is anybody familiar with that situation about Sweet Home? I had heard that somewhere, that their pastor was sick and they're not able to have a service. Ward Williams, their pastor at Sweet Home, has been sick. Oh, that's right. Okay, all right, really? Okay. So I don't think they've been able to have services lately without not having them minister, so kind of pray for those people. I don't know where they're attending now, but certainly welcome here. If anybody had heard anything beyond what I've seen and heard. Brother Mike, could you say a blessing for the sick, please?
Father, thank God for you done tonight, Lord. We just thank you especially, Lord, the opportunity to lift up all these that we mentioned tonight, sickness, passing of loved ones, upcoming surgeries, just general prayer concerns over this thing that, Lord, opportunity to lift those up, know that you hear each and every one, that you answer each and every one for your place. Watch over our speaker tonight, give him the words you have us to hear, watch over us, and give that good set of people. Let's pray.
Brother Donald, I understand you got an interesting message for us tonight.
Most everything I do is interesting.
That's what we're afraid of.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all for letting me just stand here, and hopefully I'll make a fool out of myself, and God will take care of us. I'm going to start with Exodus chapter 4, verse 24. At a lodging place on the way, the Lord met Moses and was about to kill him. Now, I read that a week ago, and I couldn't figure out why the Lord would even think about killing Moses. He had just spent several days with him, probably, explaining how he wanted to go back into Egypt and to lead the Israelites out from under the bondage of the Pharaoh or Pharaohs at that time. Well, the next verse is, let me see if I can get it down in front of me now. Got nervous for some reason. And let me start here, okay. Why would God attempt to kill Moses after he had given him instructions on going into Egypt to bring the Israelites out from under the control of Pharaohs? Now Moses was born in Egypt at a time when all male Israelites born at that time should be killed, and only the female were to be left alive. When he was born, his mother hid him for 3 months and then placed him in a basket, and his sister placed him in the Nile River and watched from a distance. Soon a daughter of Pharaoh came to bathe and saw the basket, rescued it, and Moses raised him as her own son. Now one day, when Moses was grown up, he saw an Egyptian beating on a Hebrew. He killed the Egyptian. The next day, he came upon 2 Hebrews were fighting and said something to them, and one of them asked him, was he going to kill one of them like he had the Egyptian the day before? So he became scared, and he left Egypt and went into the land of Midian, I think it's how it's pronounced. And upon reaching there, he came to a well where several sisters were trying to draw water and as other shepherds drove them away. But Moses rose up to defend the sisters. Now all this is leading up to what I'm go back to verse 24, hopefully. When the girls returned to their father and they told him about the Egyptian who had helped them, their father invited him to stay with them, and upon that he gave his oldest daughter, Zipporah, to him for a wife. Now, he and Zipporah had, it looked like just 2 children, 2 boys. Then later on in life, and I don't know exactly what the time period was, while he was attending sheep one day, he came upon a bush that had fire in it, but it did not burn up. And he approached the bush. God was watching him and called out to him by his name, Moses. And Moses answered and said, here I am. So Moses covered his face and not to look upon God. So God told him who he was, and that he wanted to use him to guide the chosen people, the Israelites, out of Egypt into a land of milk and honey. Now, none of this really tells you anything about why God would want to kill him yet. Moses had doubts that he could handle such a task, but God said to Moses that he would be with him all the time and do exactly what he told Moses to do, and the other Israelites would also do the same thing. Now, Moses still didn't want to be used like a lot of times some of us, and so he raised God's anger towards him. So God told him that to go back to Egypt, that his brother Aaron would meet him along the way, and they would use Aaron's voice as the speaking tool instead of Moses having to try to speak and get stumbling over words like I'm doing right now. Now, let's see here. Okay. After this, where he talked to God, or God talked to him from the burning bush, and I don't know a time, well, I wish I did, but I didn't get into that. It says, Moses took his wife and his sons, and he left the land of Midian, and told his father-in-law Jethro that he would have to go back and visit with his kinfolk, which he had not seen in many years. And the best I can remember reading, it was approximately 40 years from the time Moses left Egypt until he left the land of Midian to go back. Now, back to the Lord met Moses and was about to kill him. Okay, nothing in the Bible, as I can see, per se, says why God wanted to kill Moses. But the next verse, verse 25 in chapter 4. Now Zipporah took a stone, sharpened stone, and she circumcised her sons. After doing this, she threw the skin on Moses' feet. Then it's recorded that, so the Lord left Moses alone. So now, you might not believe this, but when I first read this, I couldn't understand it, and so I tried to do what I'm trying my best to now, is I started asking God to give me some idea why he would want to kill him. And so I got the back reading what I just read, and then I went back into Genesis when God spoke to Abram, which he turned his name into Abraham, and they had can somebody tell me what the word for that is? That they had a pact between God and Abraham that all Israelites would be circumcised. Covenant. Okay, good. I could not remember some of that stuff. So and then I went on the internet and started looking, and from what I can read and what I think has taken place, and I want some input. Anybody else have ever read this and thought about it? It appears that God was not quite happy with Moses because he had not circumcised his own children. Nobody really knows, but we think that Moses probably may have thought he would never go back to Egypt again, and so he just left that custom off, or that covenant, just left it off, until he was going back, and his wife took it upon herself, and she probably despised the idea of having to do it because he was the male, and he should have done it, then it was come from his side of the family, and so she had to take it on herself. And that's why she took the skins and threw them on her husband's feet. But I read that somewhere that somebody thought maybe in the process while they were staying wherever they were staying at that day or night, that maybe God had put let a sickness come over him, physical or whatever, that was taking him down, and until his wife picked up and done the act that he should have done, he might not have never been used. Another thing that God does all the time. Now I know I'm very short to the point, and I don't know all the rules and regulations and stuff, but this is what I come up with, something to think about, why God would be mad at a man he had just spent time with.
You got to remember, Moses wrote this, so
Yeah.
maybe God really wasn't. Moses was afraid God was.
Well, okay.
Maybe that's the way it shone through. I don't know.
Well, that's what I just read it, and I was trying to think different things. I was hoping maybe someone else in here might have read it and thought about what could have happened, because what we're saying here is not exactly what happened, but what we think might have took place. And I'll never ask God when I get there. That'll probably be way off somewhere else.
It won't matter then.
But I do know that God works. Man told me today, God works in mysterious ways. I said, I know he's working, because I ran up with a friend today of Fields. He's had him for years, and he's one of my neighbors now, part-time neighbors, comes and goes. I met him on Tuesday this week, introduced myself, and we sat down about 15 minutes and talked and carried on, and I told him what I used to do. He told me where he lived at, and what he's doing now is a hobby. And I said, well, if you need some help, just call me, and I'll be glad to go around the corner and try to help you. Today, he needed help. So, and I was able, thank God, to go do a little something to get him out of his bind for the night. So, that's all I really got, and I wish somebody else had something else to say that could make this thing go a little longer, but I'm through.
A footnote in my Bible says that since Moses was not
um, you know, he had spent half of his life in Pharaoh's palace, and so he may not have been real familiar with God's laws. And in addition, the footnote says that his wife, due to her Midianite background, may have opposed circumcision. I don't know what being a Midianite and opposing circumcision, I'm not familiar with that, but anyway, so because he had not followed God's command completely, and under Old Testament law, you know, failing to circumcise your son was to remove yourself and your family from God's blessings. So that's why one footnote in my Bible as to why he may not have circumcised.
Well, this verse is in the Bible that he was about to kill him. Okay, well, I got some of that when I was reading, like, I didn't get to write it all down. I could have, I just didn't for some reason.
No, I got something in like she was looking at her, something in mine says that, you know, this is a footnote, and this says the problem was that Moses was going to Egypt to rescue the circumcised people. And then it says, he had been, as a descendant of Abraham, had been circumcised. I don't know if anybody ever saw that or not, but the very last thing it says, furthermore, Moses was to be the lawgiver for Israel, and it would not do for the giver of the law to be a lawbreaker. So that makes it look to me like he was falling down, and he had to be exceptional in the sight of the people. So he had to do, if it was the law, he had to follow it too.
Okay.
And evidently he knew what it was all about, because he knew to.
Yeah, because like I said, I read somewhere it said it's a possibility that he'd gotten sick, God allowed something to happen to him, and that until his wife performed that particular duty, which she despised, evidently, being of another culture, that that's the only way he got better to continue on his way. Okay, anyone else can add anything to us or take away, or? Well, I'll just go ahead and close that. We have an early night for a change. Lord, I thank you for letting me stand up here and just bring this to everybody's attention. I truly hope that you have allowed someone to think about this particular verse and the way it's written, and about how things could have happened and why they might have happened, even though we really don't know. And as we leave here tonight, Lord, I ask that you allow all of us to travel back to our respective places and be able to be used by you in the days coming for whatever thing that we need to do. Amen.